Very intuitive, very easy to use.
In the beginning, I was skeptical. I was like, I don't know if I need it or do I need it? I'll tell anybody, you need it.
WORKIZ.
WORKIZ.
Online bookings for us are huge using WORKIZ. When a customer books, we get all the information, we get a ping to our phone, and then we can add it to the schedule and take care of that customer.
Doing my research, I was looking at software, that was all inclusive, invoicing, estimating, and it's been awesome.
It keeps everything in track, people's names, addresses, whatever, you need it.
It's helpful, especially now that we're a multi-truck operation, and as we get bigger, a lot of the WORKIZ benefits become more pronounced.
You couldn't do it without it. You'd be losing emails, you'd be losing addresses, like I could work off this now and have everybody's name and address. I could send them Christmas cards, I could send them holiday, whatever.
We have call recording turned on, so when our techs give the customer a call when they're 20 minutes away, we can listen in on those calls. We see when the truck arrives. We can attach photos for the job of how it goes. It's also our CRM, so when we want to send out email marketing, we have that list straight from WORKIZ to export, and then we can reach all our customers easily.
It's your contact list. That's not over here, over here, over here. No, it's right here all the time.
Welcome everybody, welcome to another webinar as part of the JRA webinar series brought to you by WORKIZ. Today we've got one of our our SEO strategist on board with us here today, Mr. Dallas Davis. We're going to be talking about mainly search engine optimization today. And SEO is something that we have done for a long time for many different companies throughout the country. If you guys are interested in digital marketing SEO services, make sure you head on over to junkrA.com. We'd love to help you out. Today, though, we're going to be talking about some of the things that you do for great SEO. Now, the title of this particular webinar was Paid Ads versus kind of Organic. We're going to focus mainly on SEO because we put out a lot of stuff about paid ads. Here's the one thing that I'll say. I don't think it's a paid versus organic. I think it's a paid and organic. Like you've got to be doing both, because what we have seen is that about 50% of traffic is going to buy from Google Ads. The other 50% is going to buy from search engine optimization or the organic results, be it the Google My Business or Google Business Profile map results, or the straight up organic, which is a little farther on down the page. So it's about a 50-50 split. Some people are just not going to click on an ad or buy on an ad. They're going to go straight down to organic. So it's very, very, very important. The neat thing with Google Ads is really fast. So it's obviously much quicker than SEO, but you pay for it. Every single time you click, somebody clicks on an ad, it's $8, $15, 18 or $20, just depending on your area and the keyword. Whereas with SEO, there is no pay-per-click. When the customer clicks on your advertisement or your listing, there's no charge for that. The caveat is it takes a really, really long time to rank well, especially for competitive keywords that bring in a lot of traffic. The one thing I'm going to add before we get over to Dallas is search engine optimization. It's comparative. So you don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to do it better than the competitors that are ahead of you. So as you're going through and you're trying to increase your ranking, what you're doing is you're looking at the next few companies that are ahead of you, figure out what they're doing, do it better than them, and then set your eyes on the next couple of competitors that are coming up. It's very comparative. So what that means is nowadays you've got a lot of junk removal companies that have been open for 5 years, 8 years, 10 years or longer. So you've got a lot of companies that have been doing SEO that entire time. And if they're still doing SEO now, it's a moving target. It's not just you go out and you do these things and you rank well, because again, you're going up against that other company. So if they are still doing SEO, not only do you have to catch up to them because they've been doing it longer than you, you've also got to surpass them. So you have to do it a lot better. You have to do much better. So it can take, I tell people, 6 months before you get a little bit of traffic and business from SEO. But you're looking at this from a years-long process. It could be 2 years, 3 years, if ever, where you rank like in the first handful of results for the keyword junk removal because it's so competitive. So now that we've talked about that, if you guys have any questions at all that you'd like to post in that comment section that myself or Dallas can answer, make sure you stick them in the comments. We'd love to get to them. Dallas, appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yep. So we're going to be talking about SEO, something you know just a little bit about. How would you define what kind of search engine optimization is?
So it's optimizing your website for search engines so that you show up in results.
Well, that's easy enough, considering it stands for search engine optimization, so it's optimizing it. How do you do that? Like, what are the foundations for good SEO?
So you're going to want to do things like keyword research, content creation, on-page optimization, backlink building, competitor analysis, and a handful of other things there.
All right, so we had keyword research, backlinks was one of them. What was the second one? Content creation?
Content creation, yep. And then your on-page optimization.
Homepage optimization, okay.
Backlink building.
Okay.
And competitor analysis. Those are going to be your core of SEO.
All right, well, let's open these up a little bit and kind of dissect them. So, keyword research. Obviously we're in the junk removal space. Pretty much everybody watching this is also in the junk removal space. What are some of the keywords that they would want to target?
Well, the main one being junk removal. That's one of your higher volume keywords. You've got things like junk hauling, junk pickup, piano removal. You can get specific, like appliance removal, down to even fridge or specific appliances.
So you said piano removal. And then we have fridge, even like grill, like a household grill or something.
Yeah,
like
you
that.
can get down as
there.
specific as that. Really anything that someone is going to search for when they're looking for a service on Google.
So would you create an individual page for each one of these services that are targeting that particular keyword?
That is the optimum way to do things, is to have a keyword per page. You can have secondary and semantic keywords, but your goal is to have one page for one keyword and kind of focus around a topic area.
So talk to me, you mentioned something about semantic keywords. What is a semantic keyword?
So semantic keywords are going to be things that are like similar to the keyword you're trying to rank for. So if you're going for junk removal, you might say something like junk hauling near me, or things like that. Things that are similar to the keyword you're trying to rank for.
Okay. All right, so these are some of the different keywords that we've got. And obviously, I'll throw a couple more in there. Hoarder clean out, and I believe we have something like 200 some. I can't remember the exact number. I was just looking at our web landing page catalog earlier. I think it's 200 some pages that are potentials on there. These are some of them here, and one of the things that you're going to notice is obviously the big one, the grand poobah or whatever, is junk removal, junk hauling, junk pickup. You get a lot of searches for those. Less so for piano and fridge. Hoarder is very, very specialized, but if somebody's searching for it and they find it, those are normally like really large jobs. Some of these are lower volume, as we mentioned. Why would we want to create a page and take the time for those lower volume keywords?
Well, it all adds up at the end of the day, and those lower volume keywords usually have less competition on them. So it's a little bit easier to rank for, and I mean the potential for a conversion is still there. So
we've seen, actually, to kind of go on that, we've seen people, us launch a couple of these pages for brand new sites, and like they go to like #1 overall. And it's just because most competitors, or a lot of the competitors, aren't spending time on that particular keyword. And like Dallas said, you might only have 10 or 12 searches for sleeper sofa removal in a given month. But if you get 10 of those searches and 3 or 4 of those people call you and you book 1 or 2 of those jobs, that adds up. And when you do a sleeper sofa job now, it could turn into something much larger later on. So you're getting in front of that customer and kind of getting everything started, which is huge. So how can they find other keywords that they want to target? You mentioned the research aspect of it. What can they do? Where can they go for that?
So the best way is to use a third-party program, something like SEMrush or Ubersuggest. Even Google Keyword Planner is an option. There are some free keyword research platforms out there. You had to dive into it a little bit to find one, but they all do the same thing and kind of give you what the difficulty is for the keyword you're trying to rank for, as well as the volume behind it, so how many people are looking for it every month.
And SEMrush is a paid program, as are a lot of those, and they're really good. I will say that the Google Keyword Planner, which I know how to access through Google Ads, if you create just a dummy Google Ads account, you could go on it in there and get, it'll help you give you ideas on different keywords to use, and it'll actually estimate the amount of traffic and number of impressions that you would get in a given time frame. So it works well, and that is free. The other ones, a lot of times you actually have to pay for. So those are really, really good ones to do. Okay, so when we start talking about content creation, talk to me a little bit about that. What do you mean by content creation?
So just as simple as creating content for a service or a service area, or even just a blog, just getting words on your page, mostly focused on your business and what you're trying to target.
So let's say you're located, if you take the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So one of the things you mentioned was doing different services, creating pages for the different services. We just talked about that. But you just brought up city pages or service area pages. So you've got Charlotte, and then like around Charlotte, you've got Concord, Gastonia, Fort Mill, Rock Hill, Mint Hill,
and each one of those is going to be a different page where you can target those keywords and bring in potentially more volume.
So you would do it like a junk removal Rock Hill, let's say that as an example, as a page.
Right.
Could you also do something like grill removal Rock Hill, grill removal Concord? Like, would you go that granular with it?
You can go that granular with it. I would suggest sticking to kind of more of the higher searches, the higher volume searches, and working your way down over time.
So when you're creating these pages and all, and you're making these pages and these blog posts, what is Google looking for? Like, what do we need to do to get the page to rank well, get a good number of impressions, people to click on it, and then ultimately lead to conversions?
That's a very loaded question. So, I mean, you have things like the content itself, if those keywords are present. You're going to have your technical side, so how fast your page loads. You're also going to want to optimize things like your meta titles and meta descriptions. And it even goes down as granular as your images, making sure that your images are optimized, have the correct alternate text that are hitting those keywords as well. And just everything you can do to help search engines understand the content on your page and what it is you're trying to accomplish for the user.
So you talked about page load speed, you talked about H1 and meta tags. I guess we're kind of getting into the page optimization side of things too. Image sizes, I guess, would be it, right? Because really large images aren't going to load that fast. What was some of the other stuff you might have listed here?
Your header tags is a good one as well. Making sure that you're using the correct head tags so that you're identifying things by importance.
How's that different from H1? H1 is the most important, and then you have like an H2, H3? Or?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's kind of a hierarchy there. All right.
And then your meta titles and descriptions. That's up there.
Yep, got that right there. So you should be able to share your screen now. Are you able to show a particular site and show people like what is an H1 tag, what is an H2 tag, or meta tag or whatever? And then I'd love to show people in terms of a page load. We can go to like page speeds and insights or whatever. I'd love to show people how they can find out how quick their page loads, because that is a very important part for not only SEO ranking but the user experience. If a site loads too slow, they're going to just click back and go down to the next person.
So I've got the Junk Doctor's website pulled up here actually, and on the junk removal service page, and your H1 is going to be your main overall topic for that page. In this case, it's junk removal services. As you scroll down, you see things like your calls to action, which are also very important to have on your page for user engagement and leading the person to a conversion. And then you've got your overall content. These are going to be H2s, which shows that it's very important on the page. And then you've got your text underneath there. If you were to have more like bullet lists or something like that, you may even get down to H3s and H4s. But most of the time, it's just going to be H1s and H2s. to show your importance on the page.
And then so that's the different header tags and all. What's the meta description?
Yeah, so I actually have a tool that I like to use. It's this SEO Meta one-click, and it gives you an overview of your meta title and description, and it also gives you insight to how long it should be. The title should be within 60 characters, and the description within 160 characters. And you want to make sure that you're targeting the keyword that that you need for that page in your description and title. And then you can also, check your H1s and stuff here as well.
And what tool are you using to look at that?
This is called SEO Meta one-click, and it's an extension for Google Chrome, and it's free.
It's free. So what was that? Write that up there if you don't mind.
Sure thing.
Here you are. So SEO Meta one-click, and that'll give us a lot of kind of some of that diagnosis there.
You can even go deeper into it and see all the headers that you have. So like this is your structure on the page. It gives you kind of more of a rundown of what the important sections on your page are.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about site speed and site performance. So I know we use page speed insights a lot.
Yeah, so I do have one pulled up already, but I'll go ahead and do a new one. Just you grab the URL that you're wanting to check, throw it right into Page Speed Insights, and it's going to analyze it and give you back your performance scores. So for junk doctors, it looks like they're doing really well. They pass with the core web vitals, and everything's within the proper ranges.
Okay. And then it should give us some more site speed information. All that'll pop up here in a moment as well.
Yep. It gives you your performance score, accessibility, best practices, and your SEO score, according to the Page Speed Insights tool.
And then it gives some kind of reasons as why you might not be up to par. So let's get on the SEO, because I'm curious on the SEO. That score is lower than what we normally see. So it's interesting. All right. So these would be items that we would need to repair.
Yep, so this link doesn't have a description or a descriptive text, so that's an easy enough fix. And then links aren't crawlable. That's going to be something a developer can go in and figure out. And then your tap targets are not sized appropriately. This is more for mobile. When you're on mobile, you want to make sure that your buttons are large enough for people to click on easily because you're on a smaller screen.
Good. Well, it sounds like you've got something to do on the Junk Doctors page after we get done with the webinar here. Okay, so that's kind of covering some of the on-page optimization, content creation. We've talked some about pages. Talk a little bit about blog posts. Like, what type of blog posts would people actually use?
Blog posts are great. You're going to want to make blog posts for things like tips for handling trash overflow or how to declutter your space before the holidays. Just anything kind of fresh and interesting to readers to bring them to your site. Bringing people in for informational content like blogs is a great way to get them in the door and get that handshake.
So it seems like your responsible disposal and stuff about recycling and things that might actually get people to potentially share the stuff via Facebook if you can create a good enough article.
That's one of the best things as well. It's free backlinks at that point. If your content is great and people are sharing it, especially blog posts, that's going to help boost your SEO score as well.
So let's talk a little bit about backlink building, because a lot of that is something that we tend to talk about in the SEO world. And there was many years ago, with SEO, you could just go and just create like these, just build a ton of backlinks, and that was the main thing Google was looking at. People went out there and they created these private blog networks and all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't really work as well anymore, right?
Correct. Over the years, Google has kind of really cracked down on buying backlinks. It's what they call a black hat tactic for getting backlinks, and it's something best to avoid. Now, especially if Google finds out, they can slap you with a penalty, which could remove you from search engines altogether, which is detrimental.
And probably kind of hard to overcome too if you get one of those manual penalties, right?
Correct. It is a very lengthy process to get rid of those.
So how can somebody go about getting backlinks?
The best way to get backlinks is organically. So creating great content that people want to share. That's the number one way to get backlinks. There's also, you can do outreach to similar businesses or blogs that cover topics that you would cover as a business, and have them linked to you. You can also do guest posting, so you can write articles and such for these blog sites and have them point to you as well. Networking is a great way as well. You can do broken link building, so finding pages that have a link that is broken and offering content to replace it.
All right, tell me a little bit about that. Broken link, what is that?
So you want to find broken links on websites in your niche. You can use tools like Check My Links or Broken Link Checker, and then you offer that site a replacement. So you'll reach out to them, notify them of the broken link, and then suggest your content as a replacement.
Okay, got it. I'll add on Chamber of Commerce's, organizations you can join, so like BNI. Like you join these organizations and they'll put you on a directory and they'll link back to your website.
That's another easy one to do is like local citations, local directories. All of those that point back to you usually have a high authority score, making your site look more reputable.
I know from time to time, maybe you can establish yourself with a charity where you're providing service to a charity and you can get the charity to actually list you as a recommended provider and actually give a link back to you.
It's another perfect example of a backlink strategy.
So one of the things we talked about, it's a little down the list, but competitor analysis.
Right.
It seems to me if you could find out that the backlinks that a competitor has, some of those same links that the competitor got might be interested in linking to your page too, right?
Correct. SEMrush is probably the best tool out there for that. They've got an amazing backlink gap tool. You can put in your website as well as multiple other competitors and kind of see where they're getting their backlinks from that you're not, making outreach much easier.
Is that something that we could do on maybe the Junk Doctors page on SEMrush?
Yeah, I actually have it pulled up here. I did a comparison between us and a competitor, and it kind of shows the best. It starts you out with the best domains that point to your competitors, but not to you. And it goes by authority score, so you can actually see which ones are going to be the most beneficial for you right out of the gate.
So what company is Forbes? Is that like Got Junk or something?
It's like a news site.
Well, I know what Forbes is, but like which link is it? Is it like, because that's a pretty big news site.
So
Is it for like 1-800-GOT-JUNK? Can you tell what competitor?
yes, so right now I have us compared to 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Got it,
So this
yeah.
is going to be their links.
So compare us to like Stand Up Guys Junk Removal.
Stand Up Guys?
Yeah, are you tracking that one? They're in a few different locations. They are in Raleigh. That one's Greensboro there. If he's watching, he'll figure out you just clicked on his ad and cost him about $12 there.
No, I'll bet, well. So I'll just add them in there alongside.
Okay.
And these are going to be the links that are pointing to both Stand Up Guys and 1-800-GOT-JUNK, compared to the ones that are missing on Junk Doctors. So like this ink.
So you have this information here in front of you. What's something actionable you can do with this? Like are we going to attempt to actually go and get links from these people?
So the best way is just to follow the link to the website that you're trying to get the link from. Find their contact information and saying, hey, we're here. Is there a way for us to be included on your site?
Interesting.
It does take a little bit of manual work to find the contact information sometimes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Definitely worth it in the end.
I'm sure. Because really it can only be just a few links. Like what's the link difference? And see, Got Junk is a little of an interesting one because since it's nationwide, and like we outrank Got Junk on a lot of stuff, you know, in local areas, but they're going to have a lot more links than us. But
Right.
when it comes to just Raleigh or just Charlotte, we tend to compete pretty well with them. So let's take, I tell you what, let's do Count Juncula in the Raleigh market. And instead of clicking on his ad, find him organically there.
Let's see, this one isn't organic.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Now, do you want to add them in there with the others, or just
Compare
one-on-one?
Junk Doctors to Count Juncula on backlinks.
So their number one is Linktree, which is one that you can actually do yourself. So that's something that we could probably do coming up.
Could we do it now?
Possibly.
Let's click and see if we can actually do it now. While you're doing that, I'm going to add a Bright Local or Yext is a database submission. I think Bright Local is something like $150 and it gets you like 30 backlinks or something like that, right?
Right.
To
Depending on your price point, you can get even more. I think up to 60 directories. They're also listing you in like voice directories now.
Now you mentioned you can't buy backlinks, but you're kind of doing that there, right?
Yes, it's kind of a gray area because it's a directory listing. So that's what the website is made for, is to advertise your business. So that's kind of the difference there. When you're buying backlinks in bulk from, you know, shady websites, it raises a flag to Google. They're pretty smart and know kind of the difference between these sites and what the end goal is.
Okay. All right. So we've got Linktree. So
really, you'd have to set up an account,
okay.
and then you can link to pages on your website. It's kind of just like a quick overview. I know a lot of like the gun industry companies who can't link directly to their websites will do stuff like this to kind of have a middleman to get people to their site.
And speaking of that, you've been with us for what, about a month, 6 weeks now, maybe 8 weeks?
Yeah, about 8 weeks.
About 8 weeks, about 2 months. And your background, you kind of came from the gun industry. You did
Right.
SEO for the gun industry for a while. So
Yeah.
very, very interesting. How does it compare SEO for junk removal compared to the gun industry? What's the differences?
It's much easier. With the gun industry, there's a lot of frowned upon things. Like Google won't let you have ads in the gun industry. So that's right there is a number one killer.
Interesting. Well, we're glad to have you here and making impacts for junk removal business owners. Okay, so Linktree. What is Linktree?
Linktree is just kind of like it's
like
an
another
all-in-one biography site, basically. So you can have like a little profile with these links that lead to what you're doing currently. So if you're having like a holiday special, or you put out a new blog that you want everyone to see, this is kind of just like another point of interest to for people to find that.
What's the domain authority of that?
For this, they have a domain authority of, well, it needs me to log in, but it says 93, so Linktree is actually very high.
It's really high. Wow. So by getting that one link, that definitely will help us out some.
Correct.
What are some of the other links that are showing on there, the difference between us and Count Juncula?
It looks like some news sites, so they probably have some articles about their business or their company on these news sites.
Would that be like maybe they did a press release?
Right.
And you can syndicate those press releases like PR Web, and there's another one, I can't remember the name. What kind of effect does press releases have on SEO?
It gives you more visibility. If your press release is being shared, you have more eyes on you, and then people end up searching for you.
Now, I think most of the time when these companies do these press releases, they put a no follow tag on the links.
Correct.
Does it still help you out even though there's a no follow tag?
It still kind of shows that handshake even if it's a no follow. So Google won't actually like follow the link from their site to yours, but they do see that handshake is there.
And just so you don't know, those of you that don't know, with when you're linking to another site, a lot of organizations and companies will put a no follow tag on it, essentially telling Google, don't follow this link or whatever. And what people are going after, I guess, is they don't want to have their site linking out to too many sites because that can actually hurt their SEO, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And you'll see that a lot of the times in like forums and stuff
Yep.
like that.
Excellent. Very good stuff. So, like, what are some of the other links on there? Because this to me is like really, really cool.
So I'm not seeing what I thought I would expect. Usually there's a lot of coupon sites. So a lot of companies will list their deals on these coupon sites that have high authority, and that's an easy win for a backlink.
Do you have any examples of those?
Let's see if I can find one here. I'm sure there's one in here somewhere.
If you need to pull up another company, you can also.
Yeah, let's do the 1-800-GOT-JUNK again. They had a bunch of those.
And guys, remember why Dallas is going through this. If you have any questions at all about SEO, websites,
We'll hit up their ad.
Google Ads, anything, make sure you post them on here. We are happy to help.
Let me take Count Juncula out of here.
While you're doing that, I'm curious. You know, we pay a bunch of money for SEMrush, but we have a bunch of sites on it. I'm going to look up how much SEMrush costs, just, you know, out of curiosity, if you had just one site. I know we pay like thousands and thousands every month for it, so. It looks like for like an individual that is just managing their own website, maybe like $130. Well, that's the annual price. I know it's not, it's the monthly. So something like $130 a month would get you kind of a basic start. So not cheap, but not super expensive.
I saw a bunch of those coupon ones before. Maybe it was for the other one.
Okay. Well, that's not a big deal. So, but anyway, you can go on and you are looking at backlinks from competitors. Now, in terms of other competitor analysis, what is some other stuff you can do? Because after a period of time, you're going to have created like every single page for the most part there is to create. So like once you get to that point, what do you start doing?
One of the easiest ways to get into competitor analysis is just to search for the term that you're looking for in Google and see who's in those first positions. You can use that tool like SEO Meta One-Click, go to their page, see kind of what they're doing for their titles and descriptions, and maybe making it a little better for your own site. Another thing is the keyword gap. So just like the backlink gap here on SEMrush, you can also do the same thing with keywords and find keywords that you might have overlooked or have real potential for your niche.
And where do you find that? Where do you find keyword gap?
It's the same thing as this backlink gap, but it's the keyword gap. So you'll still just enter in your site versus your competitors, and you can kind of get an overview.
Let's do it. To us versus the count.
Count?
Mm-hmm. Kind of junkie was interesting. The only reason they got in the junk removal business is I hired him to do a pressure washing job, and I was talking with the guy about junk removal, and next thing I know, they had started a junk removal business.
So it gives you kind of an overlap overview here. You can see that Junk Doctors has around 2.8 thousand keywords, and Count Juncula has around 920 currently.
Nice.
And then it gives you the keywords that are shared, the ones that are missing, so the ones that Count Juncula has that we don't. The weak ones, kind of where they're both needing some work, and then same thing with like untapped keywords. So these are like the ones where the U domain has no rankings, but at least one of the other competitors do. Since we're only doing one competitor, it's the same as these missing keywords. But these are all the keywords here that Count Juncula are outranking Junk Doctors on. And you can see that they have quite a bit of volume to them. So
like dumpster rental, we don't do dumpster rental, so they're going to beat us on that. I like garage clean out. We definitely do that.
And like TV removal.
Yeah, we definitely do that. Okay, so let's choose. So let's say garage clean out. You know, we want to beat these guys. How do we go in there? How do we show them who's boss? Like, what do we need to do?
Well, the best thing would be to find their page, that they're ranking for that keyword, and kind of see what their strategy is, what their meta title and description are, what they're using for their header tags, what their content actually looks like, how often they're using the keyword in their text.
So can we pull that up and look at it?
Sure.
And like I know, like Junk Doctors, you know, we're in the middle of a site refresh for Junk Doctors now, because that site is about 5 or 6 years old, which is honestly about twice as long as I think you should keep a website. And
Which keyword did you want to target?
I think garage cleanouts was the one we were looking at. So like the Junk Doctor, basically Junk Doctors has gotten a little neglected because we've been building everybody else's stuff up. So now we're doing kind of a site refresh on that for the first time since before we started JRA. So we started JRA in 2018. So I think it was 2016 when we did that JRA site. So we are going on 8 years next year. You know, we're right around the corner from a site that's 8 years old, which is just way too old. So we're getting ready to do a pretty significant refresh on that. We've got some great designs that have come through. And you know, some of this, that should also help some of our SEO out, because some of the user experience just needs to be kind of updated. It's just kind of 8-year-old user experience. All right, so garage cleanouts. So when you look at what they have and what we've got, like what do we need to do to see if we can kind of
Let's go over to
close
Junk
the gap
Doctors and see if we can kind of do a comparison. So for one, let's see, the domain authority for Junk Doctors is 25, and for them it's 16, but they're still outranking. So authority score does have something to do with rankings in some sense, but you can still outbeat your competitors with the lower score.
for this particular keyword anyway.
Yes. So let's kind of see how they have their headers laid out. They've actually got 2 H1s, which is not very common.
It's not right either, is it?
Right. And actually, they have more, right? They have a lot of H1s on this page.
So that's just a mistake on their part when they're laying it out.
Correct.
So, okay.
And then looking at their description, both their title and their description is well past the standard. So I'm actually having kind of a tough time on understanding how they're doing better. My guess would be is their backlinks to this page. If they have a significant amount of backlinks pointing towards them and Junk Doctors doesn't, then that shows more handshakes of confidence from other sites, which then pulls it up in the rankings.
Let's look at the rest of this page too, just to see, I mean, like, what are all they covering?
Yeah, it's great that they have these call to actions. It makes it easy for people to move on with the process. Reviews are always a definite plus. And then, yeah, their content is laid out pretty cleanly.
But it's not really garage clean out specific. I mean, most of that stuff is stuff they probably have on every single page. I mean, honestly, the page is pretty sparse. Right?
They could add some more content, and that's something that Junk Doctors could do to get ahead of these guys, is kind of see how much text that they have and just
expand upon it. Let's put that on our to-do list too for Junk Doctors there. So that can be some of that. I know you're working on SEO strategy for next couple months for our clients. So for the Junk Doctors, we can add that to the strategy there. Well, that's really neat stuff there, guys. I mean, it's awesome that you can sit there and there are tools available to kind of allow you to like look at the back end of what your competitors have going on. And to do a good job with this stuff, it can be super, super time intensive. So like you're probably going to start out with more of a basic SEO service that'll get you like a pretty good ranking over time. And then what happens is like once you get towards the top, you have to like up your level of service. You have to like really start having somebody diving into what exactly your competitors are doing and creating additional content. And SEO can get pretty expensive once you get to that point as well. Once it's not just generic creating pages, putting images in, just kind of, you know, basic backlinks, database or directory submissions. Like once you start going, a lot of this stuff is manual.
It really is, yeah.
So
it's very time intensive.
Yeah, and that's why like your more premium SEO packages are much more expensive. The one that we use at JRA for the most part starts out with building up these pages and working on improving the pages and all like that. And then once people get to a certain level, they might need to let us know, or we might need to suggest to them, hey, we might want to go with a more time-intensive program here, because like now, I'm a race fan, and let's say you're a relatively fast car, and for some reason you start at the back of the pack. Like if you start in 40th position, you might be able to knock off those first 20 or 25 cars pretty quick. Once you get up into the top 10, though, it gets a lot harder to pass people because you got people that are fast. And then much like with SEO, like you might beat out some of the basic sites a lot faster that aren't doing this stuff all that great. Once you get up top, though, it's pretty tight, so you have to really do a lot to be able to outrank.
I mean, you've got to remember that you have tons of competitors, even the known and unknown for your niche, all competing for the same things. So just having that leg up and doing it better than your competitors is where it's going to be.
Excellent. All right, guys, we're going to be wrapping this thing up here pretty shortly. So if you've got any questions, make sure you post them in there. Dallas, if somebody wanted a quick win, let's say they're not doing any SEO at all on their webpage right now, like what are like one or two things they could do for like a quick, easy win?
Honestly, just making sure that their target keyword is in their content and optimizing those meta titles and descriptions. Those are the easiest things you can do to get started.
And then maybe something like the directory through Bright Local or Yext or something like that, right?
Right, and just spending a little bit of time doing competitor analysis, searching for the keyword you're trying to rank for and seeing what's working.
Excellent. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you found this webinar to be helpful. I realize that, we kind of just touch on the surface of this stuff. To dive into it, it would take a lot more time than we've got in a 40-minute webinar. If you are interested in SEO services through JRA, you get a chance to work with Dallas and team, head on over to junkra.com, submit your information over. We'd love to work with you. We've helped a lot of junk removal companies out over the last 6-7 years. We'd love to work with you next. Again, that's junkra.com. And this has been another episode of the JRA webinar series presented by Workiz. Make sure you head on over and check out our great friends at Workiz. There'll be a link in the description so you can get a little bit of a discount on signing up. Again, I have not found another CRM in the business that's any better for the junk removal companies than Workiz. It's got a great, efficient online booking system. They've got phone capability. They've got great reporting that gives you a lot of great insight on exactly how your business is doing. Excellent dispatch. You just can't beat it. So I think it's a required tool. It's one of the most important tools for you to have in your tool chest as a junk removal business owner. So make sure you click on that link and check out Workiz if you're not already using them. Appreciate you joining. Again, this has been Dallas Davis. I'm Lee Godbold with Junk Removal Authority, where we help junk removal business owners make more money and live a better life. We'll see you soon for another episode on the JRA webinar series. Thanks for watching.
Very intuitive, very easy to use.
In the beginning, I was skeptical. I was like, I don't know if I need it or do I need it. I'll tell anybody, you need it.
Workiz.
Workiz.
Online bookings for us are huge using Workiz. When a customer books, we get all the information, we get a ping to our phone, and then we can add it to the schedule and take care of that customer.
Doing my research, I was looking at software, that was all inclusive, invoicing, estimating, and it's been awesome.
It keeps everything in track, people's names, addresses, whatever, you need it.
It's helpful, especially now that we're a multi-truck operation, and as we get bigger, a lot of the Workiz benefits become more pronounced.
You couldn't do it without it. You'd be losing emails, you'd be losing addresses. Like I could work off this now and have everybody's name and address. I could send them Christmas cards. I could send them holiday, whatever.
We have call recording turned on, so when our techs give the customer a call when they're 20 minutes away, we can listen in on those calls. We see when the truck arrives. We can attach photos for the job of how it goes. It's also our CRM, so when we want to send out email marketing, we have that list straight from Workiz to export, and then we can reach all our customers easily.
It's your contact list. That's not over here, over here, over here. No, it's right here all the time.